Hello and welcome to the Golf Pro Show. My name is Gary Shaw, sometimes known as Gary Shaw Golf, and I'm joined as always by Liam Graham, also a
How's it
PGA
going?
touring professional, uh, currently at home, which is a rare sight.
Yeah,
And this is episode 9. We've almost hit the double digits.
it's taken a while, but we're
Taking a
taking
while,
over when we get a chance.
yeah. The
Mm.
wheels are turning. This episode's kind of turning the mirror back on ourselves for a change. We've had a lot of guests over the last few episodes. Particularly because a few things have been changing over the last few months. One in particular is Mr. Liam has secured his Sunshine Tour card.
Yeah, it'll be a bit of a change. So, been based in the Southern Hemisphere and back and forth a bit, but playing for a living now officially. So it'll be
Oh, You
nice.
might you might get a little tan as well while you're
I might. UV is very high, so I'll have the factor 50 on. My Irish skin isn't able for it, but mm.
greasy hands.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I suppose it's an interesting journey you're on, and you're only getting started, really. But there's a lot of things that have happened, a lot of water under the bridge over the last year or so. Like a year ago, well, just over a year and a half ago, we were living together in Maynooth, um, having a cup of tea most nights, talking about swings and whatnot, lessons we've had that day, and experiences behind the counter of a pro shop, and I'm sure
Mm.
every pro and assistant pro can relate to that. But it was a great experience living together at that time and being able to share that.
We
Which is
definitely had
probably
two
good.
different perspectives and experiences that we are both learning from. So it's well,
Yeah,
we've obviously diverged even more now, but it is
yeah,
interesting to see how the career as a professional golfer and that can lead
yeah,
different routes. And yeah, we've
yeah,
definitely doing that.
yeah. Like I think back to when I was in Nace a year and a half ago. I used to do probably 10 grips a day on average.
Mm.
I really haven't done one since I moved here. So repairs and all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
Just
just
not
doesn't.
part of the business model
Just
in London there at the
yeah,
moment.
yeah. So I'm coaching pretty much just so not selling jumpers or t-shirts or anything. Golf shoes. I've totally lost track of what a good golf shoe is now. Those
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
things.
yeah.
But yeah, let's talk about the Sunshine Tour and your journey. So rewind back maybe your PGA days in the K Club and your assistant pro days, and where has it gone from there?
Yeah, it's amazing. So like I obviously started the PGA COVID times 2020. I was playing okay in some of the amateur stuff. Michael Federson gave me opportunity to start the PGA in the K Club. So it was great.
Mm,
Obviously thrilled, started, ended up like I had spent a bit of time coaching in America before. I had full intentions of going coaching and working up that way. And all of a sudden, I started playing well, started winning a
mm,
few pro-ams, played pretty well over during my training as assistant pro, won quite a bit and got a bit of support from like Crystal Air, Woodbury Capital, Lions Links, who else? Yeah, CFM sponsored me for a while. Yeah, it was
mm,
great. Like that, BTI Engineering sponsor me now. So like all coming from members of the K Club and people I knew with like Joe and Colin from Lions Links sponsored me. So gave me the opportunity to start playing more abroad, playing some clutch events. So kind of once I finished my training and was a fully fledged PGA professional, I was able to spend a bit more time traveling. So I think I played maybe it was about 12 events on the Clutch Tour last year out of 18, so wasn't completely full time, but I was pretty
mm.
close to full time, balancing between playing, practicing, teaching, working in the shop. But now going to be a different journey. I'll be able to play full time and see how good I can get. So I'm excited for the opportunity now.
Mm.
It's kind of amazing. Like probably over the last year, I've learned the most in that. So like obviously went to Sunshine Tour Q School last year and missed out by a couple of shots. So between
Mm.
myself and Rowan, who obviously got our cards this time around, missed out last year by two. So it was disappointing, but was well able to learn from it. Like if you can't really appreciate the good without some of that happening too. It's inevitable in any sport or any walk of life. So kind
Mm.
of obviously a better player now because of that. Was able to go to Spain, play some events and practice at the start of the year, really work on my game towards South Africa now, and got managed to get through Q school, and we'll be
Mm.
off. back down there Tuesday week. Yeah,
Ah, yeah. And like if you go back to your when you're doing really well on the PGA circuit, you won the Order of Merit, wasn't it? And
runner up in the ordinary Richard
oh, runner
Kirkpatrick
up
won
was
it.
it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But you won
Mm.
the title. Um, like what point did you say, right, I'm gonna give this a crack, like in terms of touring pro versus just going the assistant pro route or head pro?
I wouldn't say there's a specific time, but
Mm.
it was just I kept getting better, and I am keeping getting better because I never really, do you know what I mean? I never played full time or like I wasn't like
Mm.
an elite college golfer where I was playing all the time. When I was in college, I was trying to go and get a job in music in America, and
Uh,
it's come full circle. So it's not like I've been doing it forever, and I've probably got a better golf IQ now, and I kind of from my time teaching, I can apply some of that and have better questions for Pete, my coach, then as well. So yeah, I think that's why I'm getting better, and I probably know more what hard work is now, and I'm enjoying doing that. So that's kind of
mm.
why the game is getting better. And look at I'm not. I suppose my goals aren't coming from achieving certain titles. I want to see where I'm at and try and get as good as I can and see where that takes me. That's the way I'm looking at it. So if I never get off the
Mm.
Sunshine Tour, so be it. But I want to try
Yeah.
my damnedest to get to above that. Do you know what I mean? I want to,
Mm.
I'll have the chance to work at it every day. It's a different thing now. It's a, it's a full
Mm.
time job or more than a full time job to actually work on my game and get better and play tournaments. So yeah,
Mm.
I suppose even the experience of getting through Q school will stand to me as well because I think it was explained to a few of the lads how
Mm.
I suppose like the mindset in that Q school compared to a normal tournament is so different. It's so much
Right.
higher pressure. Like it's like the pressure of a job
Compare.
interview for 4 days in a row where every shot counts. Do you know what I mean? So
Right.
it's not like it's you're playing for your career for the year more than just playing for one tournament. You're playing for the opportunity to have somewhere to play. So the
The
pressure
whole weight
was
of the year is on it, yeah.
well, I definitely felt it, especially after coming up by 2 spots shy the year before. So like
Mm.
I'd spent 3 months of the year working towards it in Spain, and investing quite a bit of money in it. If you
Yeah.
don't perform, you're back to square one. So it's like it
Mm.
was a lot of prep to get there, and luckily, I managed to get through it.
What's the atmosphere like there? Like, how many players were trying to compete there?
So there's 2 stages of Q school.
Yeah.
Luckily, my world ranking got me exempt straight to final stage.
Mm.
So there's like 150 in each. So 300 players really entered. I think it's around that. I'm not exactly sure the numbers, but 20
Mm.
cards available. So there was, yeah, I qualified 12th. I think Rowan qualified fourth. And last year we were like tied 22nd. So it was nice to step it up a little bit this year.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. I suppose the toughest thing with like Q School is already a high pressure environment, but this year we had fog delays at the start.
Yeah.
Rowan was in the first group, and being not being our full professionals, we didn't think ahead and request similar tea times. So Rowan was in the
Okay.
first group at 6:50 a.m. and I was in the last group at 1:10.
Oh my God.
So I had to drop Rowan there for 5:30 in the morning, go back to bed, and then
Jeez.
come back and do my warm up. So we didn't get, our alarms were before 5 a.m. literally every day. Um,
Wow.
it was a tricky one. So Rowan had fog delays at the start, which pushed me
Mm.
back 2 hours, 2 hours. Then I got there, did my full warm up, ready to go, and then there's lightning. So I didn't play the first day at all. So just a day hanging around, getting ready, just
Zero.
thinking about zero
You didn't hit
golf,
one
zero
shot.
golf.
Did you
Didn't hit one.
practice
Well, I
or?
hit balls warming up, but like
Yeah.
middle of my warm up, there was thunder and lightning, so called off for the day. Then I think did Rowan finish the first day? He may have.
Mm.
I ended up having to play 36 then the second day because I was the very last group as well. So I was the last person to go off. And, like,
Right.
I think my stress on my whoop was 8 hours straight in the high stress zone. It was crazy, but managed to get through it. We got to play 4 holes the next day because everything was pushed back. So my tee time on day 2 was 5 p.m. So if
My God. Right.
anything, that was the tougher day because the weather was amazing. Like I was like I looked at the leaderboard a few times. This was probably
Mm.
learning from that. I'll not be doing that again. It added more stress to the whole thing.
Right.
Um, just seeing like everyone's moving up the leaderboard. The weather was class, and I could do nothing about it. So
Right.
I think I
Out of your
shot
control.
3 under, 3 under the first two. Yeah, I was 6 under, and then luckily I got to play 4 holes and I birdied 3 of the first 4 in that round. So I wanted to
Wow.
go. I wanted to keep playing. I was
Yeah.
flowing. I was in a good mindset.
Mm.
I think I said it to Pete or some of them at home. Like I was a bag of nerves for the third round. I don't know why. I think it was that hanging around for the whole day, seeing everyone was
Mm.
shooting great scores. But I actually think it helped me in a way that like even though I could have been tired from the day before, the adrenaline just sparked
Mm.
my focus. When you really had to be sharp, I actually was because of that. So a great experience and like used a lot of breath work to try and manage that in both
Mm.
senses. So when I was getting tired, I was listening to Rory on one of the podcasts talking about his breath work and back stuff that Brezzy had sent me a couple of years ago on breath work with how to, you can manage your adrenaline and like calm yourself down or amp yourself up because after like I think I had to play 32 holes then the next day come the back nine of the second I was like dozing off nearly. Focusing was hard, like 4:10 alarm, and it was pretty much like 4 in the afternoon.
Jeez.
12 hours later, after waiting around between rounds, I was crashing a bit,
So
and
intense. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it was interesting because like scoring was pretty good, and it was like the leaders were like I think the last day one guy shot -10. So they
Wow.
were flying, but like pretty much everyone else below was playing all right as well. So like going out, it was like 2 under was the mark to qualify, and then it
Mm.
moved 3, 4. I was on, I doubled 7 and bogeyed 8 in the last round to drop back to 5 or 6. So like I was right on the mark, and this is where I was like at my
Okay.
tired, like I was
Yeah.
wrecked, and I was like, well,
Mm.
I have to knuckle down here. I've 9 holes to play to get my card now. I'm in position, but like one bad shot, if I hit a ball in the trees and lose a ball or something, I'm gone. So it was high
Mm.
pressure. Um,
What was the course like? Was it tight? Like, is it?
a little bit tight. There was a few holes, like 7 that I doubled.
Mm.
It's long par four. I think it was 450 meters. So you're at altitude. So I swapped over to meters because of the altitude. That's a different. That's something for a different story. But the ball goes way further, but
Right.
like it was a long hole. It was like driver. It had rained all week, so it wasn't going far. Like the ball wasn't running, so it was driver 7 iron hole, and like it's fairway or bushes, and that's it.
Wow.
So I hit the ball in the bush, so that was no good.
Oh.
Uh,
Oh.
um, so I didn't play that hole great all week, but
Right.
in spots it got really tight, and then others it was I was demanding. The greens are treacherous. There's loads of slope. If you get out of position at like above flags, like as the day went on, the greens got really quick. They dried out and firmed up, and like yeah, it got tougher as the day went on. To be honest,
Mm.
so I was happy to be able to knuckle down and actually grind out. I think 2 or 3 under on the way in. Then so yeah, I was
Yeah.
relieved to
What was the last few holes like? The last round was it intense? Or did
it
you know you were in the right place, or was it
from
like
say the
wasn't like
the
Rory's? Wasn't like Rory's finish at the Masters?
no, thank God, thank God. I had my blip around 7 and 8 there, so I went bogey and then I doubled 7 and then I three putted 8 because I pitched it up
Right.
pin high and it spun back down the slope to like 40 feet, and it was actually the problem was focusing over that putt. I couldn't like feel the pace. My mind was just fried. I couldn't just
What do
because
you
of
mean it
energy.
was fried? Like, was it just from
Like
all
when
the
you're
concentration?
trying, yeah, it was just out of tiredness. Like I needed some more energy. I took like an energy gel after that, but I like
Yeah.
couldn't focus on where I actually was trying to put the ball to, like how
Wow.
targets. So like feeling how far and how hard I was trying to hit it, I found it very hard. Up over a slope and like past the
Mm.
hole was back downhill. So it was like I had to be really pace
Yeah.
was so important. And I left it 8 feet short or 7 feet short and lipped out. So it was like right,
So
that
how,
was like catalyst
yeah.
that I had to get my shit together.
And
Um
how did you get your SH1T together then?
um
Is it breathwork again, or what
breath
was it?
work again, but it
Mm.
wasn't trying to calm myself down. It was actually trying to amp myself up. I needed
Mm.
like I was running on fumes. I actually needed adrenaline to carry me through because it was 12, 13 hours later from my alarm call. It was a long day. It actually got pretty hot. At that
Wow.
stage, it was like 27.
Mm.
It was cold in the morning, so you're even like trying to judge how much further the ball is going
Oh
in the
yeah.
temperature. You're playing Kikuya rough. The ball reacts differently if you miss a green. It's like,
Mm.
yeah, it's just you have a lot more variables that I suppose it'll become more natural to me from playing down there, but the conditions are so different from playing in
Mm.
Ireland or the UK.
And does it dry
So,
out as the day goes on, like,
well, you
or
see,
is
it
it
was
kind of
kind
always
of
dry?
the mornings were foggy and damp, and like we had
Mm.
tons and tons of rain. There was like massive lightning and thunder all week, so like
Mm.
the course was really soft. But then as the day went on and got hot, it was a good breeze as well. It just dried the greens out. They actually got quicker as the day went on. And
Mm.
so
Mm.
like that combined with actually being wrecked and trying to focus was probably the hardest part, but managed to get through it.
Yeah. I suppose because it's so intense and everyone's there for the same reason, they just want to get to the
Mm,
next stage, whatever. Like,
yeah.
are people friendly, or is it a bit hostile there, or is everyone trying to get the edge on everyone else?
In fairness, it's like at mini
Is it
tour level, it's probably a little bit different to like main tour. I don't think it's as cutthroat
cutthroat,
in
like?
that sense. Like the lads I was playing with the last day were sound.
Yeah, yeah.
To be honest, we all played pretty well, so we were all. I wouldn't say we were comfortable, but we were like come the turn. Like now, I got tight at that stage, but the lads were playing pretty good. They luckily only
Okay.
had to play one round that day. Um, but as I was
Mm.
kind of no, they were like to be honest, you're in your own bubble.
Yeah.
You're not really bouncing a whole lot of stuff,
Mm.
chatting away. But unless there's a hold up ahead, but there were
Yeah.
sound that the lads I was playing with. Like to be honest, my focus was just on the golf. Like, no, maybe I was ignorant and I wasn't chatting to them, but
Yeah.
when we did chat, it was sound.
When did
Plenty
you
about
find out
Irish rugby.
then? Uh, when did you find out you had secured the card then?
Well, I suppose going down the back nine, I made a nice birdie on nine
Mm.
and birdie 10 and 12 or so around that. I made a few birdies in quick succession to get me to 8 under. And on the back of the 12th green, there's a scoreboard showing the leaders and the current cut mark. I think at that stage it was 3, 4 under, and I got to eight. So I actually had a great call. Myself and Ron did a great call with Dylan Byrne just
No
before
way.
Q School. So Dylan was helping us with strategy for the course, and we were kind of saying about like there were certain holes that I had bad memories from the year before, and that seventh
Mm.
hole might have been one of them. Just a brute of a hole.
Mm.
Um, just how to play it, and he was just saying like you don't want to be giving up much in the tournament. However, if you're plenty in like by giving up much by laying back and being really conservative off the tee or into greens, you don't want to be giving
Mm.
up shots aimlessly. That's not going to be any advantage. However, if you
Right.
are comfortably inside the number, it
Right.
you can do that a little bit more, and that's what I kind of did. I just tried to hit fairways and greens and two putt on the way in, and look, I played solid on the way in then, so was happy out.
Smart. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Would you call that's like your golf IQ building up all the time? Like you're getting smarter and smarter.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And
Yeah.
it probably don't have to think about it unless it comes to you more naturally. And look,
Mm.
I'm like I haven't been full time completely, so hopefully that'll improve even more. Anyone knows when you're doing something as like a full time job, you're just stuff comes naturally to you a lot quicker. Like imagine in your coaching career, Gary, like
Mm.
compared to what you were when you started out, it's amazing how much things move on. You get better and you learn from it, and it's it's just from experience. Nearly like obviously you're working in certain
Yeah,
things, but the experience alone, nearly
yeah,
you see trends and you notice that in your own game, and yeah, it's an interesting one.
yeah. But I remember starting out just coaching, just starting out, and I couldn't believe someone was handing me money for coaching. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
in your first lesson, you're like, wow, like this person
yeah.
is paid for this, like, you know. And like now
Something
it's
you're
like,
interested in. It's great. Like they'll
yeah,
pay you for something. Like, yeah.
it's just hard to believe at the start, and then you're just like, well, yeah, of course. And then like initially, I wouldn't have taken payment up front. Now in the booking engine, like, you know, you start to become a little, you appreciate what you're given a little bit more, and you
Mm,
appreciate the value of it.
yeah.
And that changes over time.
Mm, mm,
Um, but yeah, so like there's obviously a lot of pressure there going on and expectations and all that, like
mm.
managing all that. Do you turn your phone off for the week or how do you?
Rowan was pretty good.
Yeah,
He turned his off, put his phone on do not disturb. I was pretty good in general.
yeah.
Um, I I don't think I'm not generally a leaderboard watcher or any of that stuff, so I
Mm.
wasn't too bad in that sense. But I was probably on it a little bit because I it was 5 o'clock that I teed off the third round or the yeah it was the third round. So like I was at home, twiddling my thumbs. I had to do something to pass the time. I read a book for a while,
Mm.
but on the phone a little bit and chatting, making phone calls back home. So I wouldn't be
Yeah.
too against it. But yeah, like I suppose the last day you didn't have time to be on it or anything. So it was
Mm.
yeah, it was a cool experience, and it'll hopefully stand to me in my time down in South Africa now.
Yeah. So you're currently on a short break. You're home.
Yeah, so
Um,
I'm home. What day is today? The 20th, and we're heading back down the 29th to Johannesburg. It's even tricky, like navigating a new tour. Like
yeah.
the first event's in Zimbabwe. Um, even I didn't realize. Maybe I would have changed my strategy a little bit in Q school. I didn't realize that like the category we get category 9 on the tour, which isn't as you can. It's the ninth ranked category, but the top five get in like quicker, sooner. So I qualified 12th. So I actually have to
Oh.
pre-qualify into probably three of the first five, or maybe more. I actually don't know yet until the fields are finalized. But the first event in Zimbabwe, I now have to fly a few days earlier and pre-qualify
Oh,
into the
okay.
tournament. So like I got the card, I'm still not in the tournament. So I'd already booked for we'd already booked accommodation in Johannesburg, and then I realised when
Mm.
digging a little bit further. So yeah, I have to go a few days early and pre-qualify.
What's the
Yeah,
qualifier
so
like? Is it 18 holes or what is it?
18 holes. Yeah, on the 3rd of May now, I think it is. Yeah,
How
the entry's
competitive is
open.
that? Is there how many people?
I don't know yet.
All right.
Yeah, I'm to figure all this, navigate all this stuff. So like, I suppose people starting out on bigger tours and not getting agents and that we're
Mm.
doing it ourselves and trying to learn as we go, and I'm sure some mistakes will be made and we'll learn from it. And going to
Oh, for
hopefully
sure.
chat to Gary Murphy this week about his time starting out on Asian tour and getting on to main tour, and pick his brain with how he navigated tour life. And it's a completely different world. It's not like you're working for yourself playing golf, but you have to still navigate inside the realms of the tournaments and the tour and how they run events and the time schedules. So
Mm.
like it's
Mm.
yeah, you have to figure it out and make it happen. So it'll be some experience. And like
How would
I
you? Yeah. Are you gonna say something?
well, I just like even going to Zimbabwe like 2 3 years
Yeah.
ago, would I ever thought I'd probably never thought I'd be in
Zimbabwe.
Zimbabwe, and here I'm going to play a
Yeah.
golf tournament. So it's kind of cool that way, that like like I can be grateful for like seeing the world and experiencing new
Mm.
things as well. So it'll
Yeah.
be cool in that
Yeah.
sense.
And you mentioned you have to have a caddy there as well. You can't just wheel a trolley around.
Yeah,
Um.
you can't. Well, you can
Yeah.
carry your own bag, but you're
All right.
like I'm pretty sure was looking up Zimbabwe's at altitude as well. You're at 5,000 feet ish, so like the air is thinner. Like you don't. Like I was even on the Whoop, the respiratory rate goes through the roof. Trying to
Wow.
manage that. So the breath work's actually like when you're sleeping, you're breathing more because there's less oxygen in the air. Like If you don't
Okay.
recover as well, there's all
Jeez.
that to contend with too. Now,
Right.
that's what a lot of the runners in the Olympics are. The long distance runners are unbelievable. They come from high altitude countries, so when they come to, let's say when they were in Paris, there's loads of oxygen. It's easy, so it's different in that sense, and that
Right.
kind of even navigating how far the ball goes. It goes. I think they say with the altitude alone, it's about like Johannesburg was about 6% further, but then with the heat, your
Jeez.
body's moving. It was basically 10%. So I swapped over to meters and then get my numbers in meters. So
Right. So the meter is probably was
it's
quite
pretty
close
close.
to,
Like
yeah.
yeah, like say my 7 iron pitch is normally like 175. It was kind of pitching 178 meters down there.
Mm,
So like yeah, it
mm.
was. Thankfully, I've a GC3. I got it off JP Feeney a while back, and it is a barometer and
Yes.
a thermometer in it.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so it calculates
That's
that,
class.
and one of the benefits, like Sunshine Tour, is like it is the biggest tour on the continent down there. You've Pro V's in the range, so
Oh,
you're
nice.
actually hitting a proper ball. You can figure out how far the ball goes because like other tours
Brilliant.
I won't mention, you're hitting spuds and whatever the club has. So you're not getting any feedback. You're not really. You're just warming up. You're not actually getting
Mm,
good practice in. Like you
yeah.
need to try and make it as close to the actual real environment as possible when you're practicing. So
Mm,
having a proper
mm.
golf ball makes a huge difference.
What
Um,
would you say, just comparing Sunshine Tour to Clutch Tour, your life, what's gonna change or has changed the most versus a year ago, or
well, I
what's
suppose
the biggest difference?
like clutch, we were flying back and forth to Ireland. Like so, it was rare that we'd stay for 2 weeks. We'd fly out 2 days before in the evening, get up early the next morning, play a practice round, play the
Mm,
tournament, and then the night we'd fly home. Lots of Ryanair flights, quite handy. Um, Probably have to stay for longer at each tournament down here. But even the first five are quite back to back. Um, they've only announced the first five in the schedule, so I don't know the full schedule yet. And looking back
yeah.
at last year, you can kind of see. So I'm not exactly sure what I get into. There is a re-rank after the first five events, so it's important to play well in them to make sure I get into the every event during the season. But like it's a different currency, different
Mm,
culture, bit dangerous at times
is
in
it?
Johannesburg. Oh yeah, yeah. I know one of the caddies when we were at Q school got his car robbed and stuff. So like it's
Oh my God.
yeah. There's a little bit more you have to navigate, but
Mm.
yeah, you can. We'll manage. We didn't get ourselves into any trouble yet. Yeah.
I suppose the average person listening is probably has a job of some sort, like 9 to 5. How do you manage your time and things like that? Obviously not your usual nine to
Yeah.
five
Well, I
Monday to
suppose
Friday.
like yeah. Well, I'm only managing that now. Well, I suppose I played
Yeah.
a good few events in Spain at the start of the year. Like you're I like I'd probably have a problem of doing too much more than too little. So like you want to be fresh for a tournament. So like I've learned a lot from
Right.
Pete over the last few years working with him, like how scheduling your practice and training and then
Mm,
tapering off to be fresher towards the tournaments. Like now when I'm at home, I'm doing longer days and hitting more balls and training more. But
right.
as I get closer to the tournament, I want to be fresher, I want to be ready to go more than worn out. So you kind of like they have the red, green, and blue practice. The green and the red is where you're learning, and the blue is kind of more maintenance and keeping yourself sharp. That'll be what you'll be doing close to the tournament. Different types of practice, I suppose.
Yeah.
So
So if the tournament starts on, say, it's Thursday to Sunday, do you slowly reduce the practice, like coming into
yeah,
Tuesday and Wednesday?
yeah, probably even like hitting S balls come
Right.
Wednesday, and maybe doing more chipping and putting. And
Mm,
I suppose it depends where your game's at the time. If you're really searching for something, or if you have it,
right.
but
Yeah.
yeah, like you're even probably before the week you're doing more like if you need to work on it and in
Right.
particular learn new shots for the course or like practice certain shots for the course. You'll be doing that the week before hopefully and
Right.
then tapering it off that you have it and it's more about closer to the tournament pulling off one shot versus
Mhm.
doing a long day's practice and
Mm.
no, obviously you're still doing long days. You're getting to familiar with the course on the week, but it's more getting to know the course than it is like trying to find your game. Your game should be there.
Mm.
That's a
So the
different. That's a
priority is to be fresh coming into the first tee and the first
oh
day.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. like Podrick, who's you're not getting ready for Thursday, you're getting ready for Sunday. So you have a
Ah.
long week ahead of you.
So
Mm.
there's probably a few guys listening that are thinking about going into the even just touring pro in general.
Mm.
Maybe from club pro situation or not club at all. Maybe just wants to turn pro. What piece of advice would you give, or what do you think they should consider before they make that move, or
Um,
what are the big things they should think about?
well, it's important to have belief in yourself first of all, like
Okay.
you know, and have your own goals. Don't be listening to outside factors in that sense, because if you're relying on someone else to tell you and give you that stuff,
Right.
you're behind. Like to be honest, I'm not. I'm only starting out as well, so I'm not probably the most experienced in that sense. What's
Mm,
worked for me, I suppose, so far, I don't know. Just I enjoy getting better and trying to learn and see how good I can get. So like that's the kind of attitude I'm going to keep bringing to it and see where it takes me. Um,
mm,
yeah, I suppose I think it's important to do stats and know where your game's at.
okay.
I've swapped over to Up Game since our chat with Dylan, and it's really good. Learned a lot about like targets and picking better targets. You try and I
Okay.
suppose leave as little stones unturned as possible to get better, and any advantage you can have over anyone else, work hard towards that. So
Mm,
yeah, I
mm.
suppose that's kind of the way I'd look at it.
Yeah,
Um,
you hear a lot of guys talking about focusing on the process instead of the
mm,
end target so much,
yeah,
enjoying the process and
yeah. I think having like a growth or a mastery mindset is a good way of doing that. You know,
mm,
have
mm,
them your goals as we get better along the way versus like I need to win the Masters next week because that's out of your control. Getting into the Masters is step one, and
and it's a big thing to think
mm,
about, and you're like,
it's a
Jesus,
long
that's
way to get there.
bit overwhelming, yeah.
Took Rory however long, and you know what I mean. It's a yeah,
Yeah,
like if I was to start thinking about that, it'd be absolutely no benefit to me getting better
right.
now. Do you know what I
Okay.
mean?
Okay.
So now, obviously, there's certain skills you could look at the stats of like what are the someone that wins the Masters, how good are they at strokes gained approach? Like
Right.
be able to see where you are versus them in that sense, and like right, I'm miles off the pace. What do I need to do? And like, look at I'm not there yet, so I've plenty to work
Mm,
on. So
mm,
like that,
yeah.
yeah,
Just like
one day at a time.
from a coach's standpoint, like I'm often doing lessons, and these guys or girls are going off playing tournaments the next day or competitions or whatever.
Mm.
Like, how do you balance like swing changes and playing in tournaments? Like, how do you manage that on the course when you're trying to change a position or trying to do
Yeah,
something in
I
a
suppose I
tournament
worked on
setting?
some stuff with Pete, but like we identified this stuff last October based off last season. We had to sit down and kind of
Mm,
see where I was good, where I wasn't. And to be honest, like it's not linear. Like some stuff gets really good really fast. Some of it takes longer.
mm,
So like there's times where you actually just have to play. Like to be honest, in at Q school, I hit the ball probably near enough the worst I did all year. I flushed it all year in Spain and didn't score well, but I was struggling fighting a draw over drawn shots, especially iron shots down in South Africa. I felt pretty poor about my game, but I managed to shoot 8 under for the week, and I didn't feel like I was flushing the ball. So,
mm,
but it's play the game for tournaments in that sense. You have to
right.
play with the game you have on the day and try and shoot the best score you can. You're not Rory McIlroy that plays great 12 weeks of the year.
Mm,
You're going to be struggling at times, and kind of Gary Murphy kind of said the same to me when I got the card. He sent me a nice message, and just with some advice that way, like it's not always going to be pretty, and
mm.
you have to learn to play when you're not in full control of the ball and shooting scores that way. And thankfully, I managed to do that at Q school, and that experience under pressure will hopefully stand to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool thinking of all that. Like, I
Mm.
know you've a long way to go, and
Oh
you've
yeah,
come
I'm only
along,
starting
but you've
out,
come a long
so
way as
it's
well, though. Yeah, it's to
mm,
be
mm.
you appreciate as you're going along. This not everyone can relate to that, so we're all learning from that, hearing those stories.
Mm,
Um, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, thanks for sharing.
cheers.
Um,
And it's kind of you've had a different journey, Gary, as well. Fill us in on
yeah,
life in
yeah,
London. It's a little
I've
bit different to Zimbabwe, I guess.
so I like when I was working in Nace, it was your typical pro shop. It's busy, busy club and a really, really good club. You know, great members, very supportive. There was 1,300 members there, so very busy. Loads of coaching to be done if you wanted. Literally what you put out, you literally filled up the book, no problem. For the most part. So over here, I joined a place called Caddy Club, which is an indoor coaching facility or indoor golf facility simulator based on TrackMan. And there's three locations there: Chelsea, Waterloo, and Fulham. Um, I also coach at a place called SGC Wandsworth, which is pretty close to where I live as well. But they're all TrackMan facilities, all indoors. And before that, in Nace, I would have coached a little bit on TrackMan indoors. There's an indoor bay there, with fitting and all that kind of stuff, and that was great. But I wouldn't have done even half of my coaching in there. Most of it was probably in the driving range, actually across the road. So I was always used to seeing ball flights, and a lot of the time I didn't have TrackMan at all. I just had my phone and the camera over at the driving range.
Mm,
To think of that now, like that's wild. Coaching
mm,
without it. But I do try my best every now and then to like turn off the data and the TrackMan and just try focus on the ball flight and make sure that I am just looking at the player and not just looking at numbers and
You can
data
get
points like
sidetracked with
that.
like that's the only feedback you have in the base sometimes. I can like, but if you
Yeah,
once you make it like the environment as much as you can and try and get them to
yeah,
hit certain shots versus like hit this
that's the
number.
challenge.
That's the
That is the challenge, yeah, for sure. And like sometimes guys really get caught up in the numbers. They're constantly looking at their path, their face angle, or attack angle, and all that kind of stuff. But sometimes I'll play games like just to bring them back to their senses. Like I'll literally roll the ball in and just get them to hit it as it's moving. Do things like that, just because they literally just get into a knot, trying to do this and this and
mm,
this, and their arm has to be there. And they think unless they have all these to-do lists ticked off, they can't actually hit the golf ball. So trying to bring that natural flair back into the shot as
mm,
well, keeping that there. But yeah, them taking them out onto the course on TrackMan, that's a great feature on TrackMan. It's very
mm.
realistic. The new HD courses are incredible. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah, having them on and
It's
I was in the
like,
bay playing with Tyne the other day. So
yeah, good man, David. I think it's called Virtual Golf 3. So any of the ones that
mm.
have that have the higher definition. You can see like the trees, shadows moving, and the water is moving, and all that kind of stuff. But
Suppose
yeah,
in
so
London or in the city, that's as close as you can necessarily get to a golf course for the
yeah,
moment. Like it's you're trying
yeah,
to bring the player to the environment after they leave the office, so
yeah.
it's pretty cool to
And they love
know.
it, like we've guys that come in every single day and they could stay there for 2 or 3 hours, they just love it. Um, the one besides the London Eye in Waterloo, like, where are you going to go play golf? Like, there's a driving range in Greenwich. Well, it still take you half an hour to get there, probably, on the
Mm,
tubes and stuff. So it's a great facility for a lot of people, and even me myself, I'm hitting balls almost every day, and my ball striking has improved quite a lot. So there is transfer for sure, but there is a challenge in matching it up together
I
and
suppose it's how you
getting it to
coach and how you
transfer.
get people to practice to make sure the transfers, isn't it? People can get
Exactly.
sidetracked by just hitting numbers, and
Yeah.
that's not real golf. That's golf by numbers or paint by numbers, as they say.
Yeah. And you're in that deep environment at the moment. You're trying to compete, at a high level and
Mm.
not get too caught up in different theories and techniques and expectations and all that good stuff.
You can just get in your own way. You
Um,
just it's about playing the game, being
yeah,
present,
like I,
and hitting the shot in front of you. That's the most important thing.
yeah, it's so easy to get lost away from that. Like the last month or so, I've been really delving into like stack and tilt techniques and the Morad and the golf machine and all
Mm.
those super, super interesting stuff. And Rob and Billy, the guys at Caddy Club, are like specialists in stack and tilt. So I've been blessed to learn from those guys and question everything about it. And it's definitely helped me see the swing and the game from another angle. But I did get to a point where got too much into that, and I almost forgot about the player in front of me.
Mm.
Um, so there's a balance in that as well. As a coach,
It's an
I'm
extra
not
tool
getting.
for you. Like that extra knowledge is it's always great. It's an extra tool, and
No,
that's
it's
your experience
incredible.
coming through that you can see when you're getting too much that way and bringing it back. So it's all learning. So it's how
Yeah,
you apply it, isn't it?
exactly. Yeah, like I had a guy I was telling you the other day. His path was like continuously -9, -10. Like it was pretty bad. And applied a few of the stack and tilt setup features, getting the right elbow in and things like that. Even a little bit of shaft lean, ball slightly further back, and it made a huge difference. And his path, literally one shot, got it from about -9, -10, straight back to zero. Like, and even got up to +1 and 2, literally in a shot. Like it was wild.
Yeah.
So there's no denying, like there's huge positives in there if you know how to use it and use it right and when to use it and who with.
Mm.
It's powerful. Yeah, it is powerful.
Mm.
So I suppose, yeah, going forward, I just want to keep building different techniques and different ideas and
Expanding
things
your
that I can
knowledge and
apply. Expand the knowledge. Yeah, yeah, for
class.
sure. But yeah, as you expect, London is fast paced. If you market yourself right, like I went self-employed in October, so I've been self-employed for 6 months now. So I'm doing my own marketing for the most part, and yeah, it's if you do it right here, you can do well. You can make good money, and you can get quite busy quite fast, and word can
Brilliant.
spread quite quick as well. So
Mm.
it's good. It's interesting. Going forward, I want to do a bit more outdoor, like a blend of the two. That'd be
Yeah.
nice,
I
especially for
think
short
that's
game.
you cannot beat the real thing, and
Nope.
it's you're only
No,
helping
no.
people get better for the golf course. I actually was listening to Leo
Yeah.
from on the UGP podcast where I used to work about the
Mm,
Bay.
mm,
He was talking about there is like they're not necessarily getting better in the Bay; they're learning in the Bay to get better on the golf course. So
right.
yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting that even someone that's been running a facility like Caddy Club in the
Mm,
States, how he's they're still bringing it back to what is the purpose here. We're actually trying to get better at golf. Just doing it in the
brilliant.
middle of a city,
Yeah.
that's the best you can do, isn't it?
Like no joke. I've had a good few people who are playing in the facilities there, and they've never been on the golf course.
Wow, wow.
And they're not particularly interested in going to the golf course. They
So
love.
they're there to actually get better at indoor golf.
Yeah, they have a TrackMan
Wow,
handicap. They have a TrackMan handicap. They play in St Andrews. They play this and that, whatever, and they're tracking themselves like that. They've got the app. They can see every shot they hit. They can see all their
wow.
numbers, and
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So and you even got the
Fascinating.
TrackMan tournaments now as well. So
Mm,
it's almost like there's another world building, and it's only growing. Like
yeah.
it's definitely a growing thing. Every golf club nearly has a TrackMan indoor facility or working towards
So they
that.
don't watch real golf; they watch TGL and in the
Yeah,
simulators.
well, yeah, probably. I don't
Mm.
have to even watch golf. They just
Yeah, yeah,
they
yeah.
just
It's
go in there.
interesting.
They just enjoy hitting balls. They love it.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
What can you
I
do?
think it
Like
grows the
that's
game. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's a totally different arm of the game, and
Mm.
I think it's only going to grow.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's another side, but that's quite rare. Most of them would be
Mm.
getting onto the golf course
Mm.
and practicing there when they can because they're just coming from the office or yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
Good
it's
stuff.
interesting. Very different worlds we're in at the minute. Um, but yeah, best of luck going forward.
And
You'll be
same
a
to you,
better
Gary.
place.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Sure. I'm sure we'll do an update down the line, not in the not so distant future.
yeah, hopefully more good things coming
Mm.
coming down the road. Um,
Exactly.
but yeah, thanks for listening, everybody. If you're still here, how long are we in? 44 minutes.
Not too
But
bad. Hopefully
44 minutes.
we kept people engaged.
Yeah. But yeah, thanks for sharing. Usually we have a guest on, so we're usually thanking them. We'll thank each other now.
Pat in the back.
Good job.
Thanks for
Um,
listening, most importantly, isn't it?
yeah, thanks for listening. And catch us all on Instagram. But Liam, as LG Pro, keep
LG
on
underscore golf pro. Yeah.
LG
I'll
underscore
be
golf
hopefully
pro.
sharing some more from the journey down in South Africa, so that'll be cool.
Good news coming. And I'm Gary Shaw Golf on everything. But yeah, Thanks for listening,
Cheers.
guys, and hopefully we'll see you soon. Okay, cheers. Bye bye.